Order, members. Order. Order, members. Order. 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 Order, members. Order, members. Honorable members. Honorable members. I also use pads. I have periods. Please take your seats. 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 Honorable members, Honorable Watch, I'll give you the mic. Let us listen to each other. Honorable Watch, member for Madare.
Honorable members, ladies, I actually support your quest. Allow me my point of order. Part for our girls, and I also have a girl, so I support. Can you allow me the point of order? Yes, including the daughter of the majority leader. For all of them, we all support, including that of the majority leader and myself. We have heard you. Can you allow me the point of order? We have heard you.
Honorable members, the member for Madare is actually supporting you. Let us hear the member for Madare.
I support.
You have made your point. Please take your seats. Yes. Honorable Aluoch, go the first one.
First, allow me to raise this point of order as I support the no pads, no movement, and I can see the majority leader nodding because he always says he has a daughter, and so do I. But the point raised by Honorable Mayaka is a very serious one, which I think this House needs to inquire. Beyond the pads that must be provided to our school-going children, and my constituency and informal settlements are worst hit, as I am sure the rural areas. But am I in order to ask that a serious problem then needs to be inquired as to what condoms are doing in our ladies' toilets in Parliament when there are no pads in our schools? I have not finished. Madam Speaker, may I conclude? May I conclude by asking?
The member for Madare is on a point of order. Let him finish. 30 seconds, honorable member.
I'm a point of order. Am I in order to ask our committee on social welfare of this Bunge to answer the questions? Do you have so much money to waste that you can put condoms in our toilets when members lack facilities and our girls in informal settlements lack pads? Am I in order to ask that this committee should be asked to put a statement to answer to this question? Thank you.
Honorable members, remember this issue came here yesterday. It has come many times. It is an issue of national importance. That one, we are on the same page. Honorable members, I know Honorable Member for Kisii had drafted a statement on that issue. She didn't do it on time, but I will indulge you for a minute, not to move the statement, but to make a comment but also prepare the House for the actual statement that will come to the floor. So I would hope that we listen to each other so that we make progress. I'll indulge a few more people. I will give now Honorable Member for Honorable Kangogo Bowen, then I will give Honorable Donya Toto. The issue of pads is for both gender. Yes. Honorable Kangogo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, you know, I walked in when our lady members of parliament, they were on their feet and shouting parts. And I thought maybe they were seeking to be given, to be provided. But now I'm informed, actually, Madam Speaker, that they are speaking for our girls. Madam Speaker, I'm a father of many girls. Many girls, I'm a father of my own girls and the father of girls of Marakwet East, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, sorry, if you go to the constituencies we come from, especially the remote areas where we come from, our young girls, Madam Speaker, many of them, they have dropped the school because of just a simple reason of lack of sanitary pads. So, Madam Speaker, I want to support our members of parliament, the female members of parliament here in this case, that our girls must be provided with sanitary pads, given that this parliament passed budget for sanitary pads. 940 million, Madam Speaker. If that is the case, Madam Speaker, and our girls are going without sanitary pads, the CS for Education and the PH Education, or the gender, the ministry concerned, Madam Speaker, must appear before this House and tell us what happened with the monies we appropriated for sanitary pads for our girls. I want to assure our female colleagues here that as male or men members of parliament here, we are supporting you 100% in this one.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Kangogo. And this issue came yesterday, and it was a clear direction by the Speaker. The two ministries, Honorable Majority Leader, we will need to have the two ministers appear before the House. Honorable Member for Kisii.
I need this. Oh, thank you, Madam Speaker. As you can hear, my voice is something else because we want justice for our girls. Girls are lured with love messages. I love you. That is from boys because they know if they tell them, I love you, they will say, if you love me, what will you give me? I'll buy you sanitary pads because they can't afford. 70 shillings, Madam Speaker, in the village. Where can you get the sanitary pads? When I read in the news that CS gender is a female, I said, oh Jesus, our issues are going to vanish. But we are still languishing in poverty. We are suffering. This thing should be done once and for all. We should not even say we are calling them to come and to come. They've already seen what we are debating. What we are saying is sanitary pads for our school-going girls. And I repeat, I said yesterday, CS is a good friend of mine. We come from the same village. Let me tell him, Omogaka, Kayabana sanitary pads.
Order. Order, Honorable Donya. We only have 3 languages for parliament. That is English, Kiswahili, and sign language that can be used. I want to close this debate, but before I do, Member for Buri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am a proud father of 2 girls, including a third one, my wife. The dignity of our children.
Are you saying you're the father of your wife?
No, yes. I have three girls in my house, 2 daughters and 1 by marriage. Madam Speaker, we must ensure that the dignity of our children, and specifically the girl child, is maintained and preserved. Madam Speaker, in as much that we are feeling, we have some people who have no feelings at all, ending ministries. The name of Cabinet Secretary, the name of Permanent Secretary, The first thing that these people should have done.
Honorable Nyamai, what is out of order?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me a chance. I am raising on a point of order, and I would like to find out whether it is in order for the member for Buri to say that he is a father to his wife, to his daughters, and to his wife. Madam Speaker, is it in order?
Honorable member, I think the member of Buri already clarified and said he has 3 women, including the daughters and the wife in the house. So allow him to complete.
Madam, I have a lot of reservation for my senior. I'm sure she was asleep. She was dreaming about what is going to happen in Kitui Central because the girls are going to revolt against her. So what I'm saying, Madam Speaker,
do not cast aspersions, honorable member for Buri, and it is Kitui South.
Oh, Kitui South, I correct. Apologies.
Honorable member for Buri.
I withdrew. She wasn't asleep.
Finish your statement.
Madam
Wind
Speaker,
up your statement.
Madam Speaker, I'm talking on behalf of girls.
He has already withdrawn, honorable member. He has withdrawn. So let it go.
You see, she was not listening again. That's another problem that I have. Madam Speaker,
please continue.
Madam Speaker, we have to guarantee the dignity of our women and the dignity of our daughters. As a father, I have a moral responsibility to ensure that the monies that are set aside, or rather were promised by the ministry, is delivered. So with all due respect, fellow members, this is not an issue of women, it is an issue of a sector of our society that is being downgraded by insensitive administration under the ministry.
Honorable Chikati.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on my right, I'm seated with female members of parliament, around 6 of them, and they want my voice on this. And around 1 million girls miss school every month in Kenya because of lack of sanitary towels. That is a very big number that at different intervals they do not attend school because of lack of sanitary pads. 2, in my constituency in Tongaren, I have around 170 schools. 90% of those has girls. Madam Speaker, we are moving into the exam period, right from the end of this month to the end of the year. And many girls are going to lose exams because of menstrual hygiene. And therefore, I'm supporting this motion fully, that we need to do, the money which was appropriated need to be dispersed through members of parliament to distribute this standard, female members of parliament, to distribute this money directly to the concerned targets. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Sabina.
And I'm speaking as the MP of Yesu Tongaren, who cares a lot for the girls, Madam Speaker.
Honorable member for Muranga, not from Muranga, nominated member.
The party leader. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to put my voice on this. Madam Speaker, I want to remind this House that in the 12th Parliament, we moved the issue of sanitary pads, actually it was 11th, from Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Gender, so that the female county MPs who are in this House can be able to distribute these sanitary towels to the schools. And what advised us, Madam Speaker, then was because from the Ministry of Education, we couldn't really trace where the sanitary pads were going. So I hope, Madam Speaker, as the leader of majority summons the CSs here, that not only do we need these sanitary pads to be purchased, but also the county women MPs to be given the responsibility to take these sanitary towels to their schools so that all the girls can benefit. We are able to trace and see which constituencies are not benefiting. Madam Speaker, we cannot afford our girls to get pregnant teenage pregnancy, some of them to fail school because of sanitary towels. Madam Speaker, if they cannot be able to afford, then why should we, and I know somebody mentioned, have condoms in the toilets? Why should we? Who? It's not the man, and I again want to clarify, this is in every public place, you'll find condoms. It's not in parliament. It's not in parliament.
Honorable Member Sabina, do not respond to Honorable Junet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, do not. And I want to confirm, it's not only men who use condoms, even women use condoms.
Exactly. So anyway, Madam Speaker, what we are saying, this issue of sanitary towels should be taken with the seriousness that it deserves, and our girls should be given sanitary towels today and not tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. I will give the chair of education to say something, then I will give Kewopa chair and we will close this matter.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I just want to support the women members of Parliament who have just spoken. And I want to say that the issue of sanitary pads is an issue affecting every family, every child, every home, and is a right for every young girl in this republic. Madam Speaker, as Honorable Member Sabina Cheka has just put it, we agreed in the 11th Parliament that the sanitary pads be distributed and be taken to the Ministry of Gender and be given the county members of Parliament. Last week, or about 2 weeks ago, the CS Education was in this house. And he actually said the same, that the CS Gender is responsible for this. I think that the two need actually to come here. CS Gender is a former women member of Parliament. And she's supposed to come here and tell us where are the sanitary pads, what are they doing, and why are they delaying with it. In fact, we voted about 940 million for this, and therefore, this thing needs to be taken very seriously. We support you, and we want our girls to have sanitary towels immediately. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Kewopa Chairperson, Honorable Lea Sankaire.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I take this opportunity to also add my voice to the same. I think the issue of sanitary towels is a national issue that we all need to see how we are going to work on it so that the sanitary towels can get to our girls. Madam Speaker, it's unfortunate that this is the third time or so that we are raising this matter in Parliament. We have been raising it outside Parliament. We have gone to the corridors of the CSs and the PS, but with no fruitful results. Madam Speaker, we have decided to bring this matter today before the House because for us it's not just a girls' issue, it's a national issue. The issue of sanitary towels does not only affect the girls, but affects our families wholesomely. A girl missing school for 3 or 4 days every month simply because they cannot afford sanitary towels is not a small issue. It's a national issue that we need to discuss as members of Parliament. Madam Speaker, when we passed the budget in this House, we appropriated 940 million towards the purchase of sanitary towels for our girls, and it's unfortunate that about 4 months down the line, the sanitary towels are not yet with us. Every single day, women reps goes back home. We get calls from the village, we get calls from the head teachers, we get calls right, left, and center, telling us of the number of girls that are staying at home because they cannot afford the sanitary towels, and we have no answer because someone responsible on that is not doing their job. Madam Speaker, we are simply asking, can the 440 million be channeled to the women representative so that 940 million be channeled to the women representative so that they can procure these sanitary towels? They are conversant with their counties.
Thank you. Honorable members will put a close to the debate on this issue. The chair of Health Committee, the chair of Education Committee, and the majority leader will give a commitment on when and how we resolve this issue. Majority Leader, give a way forward on that issue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I hear the Honorable Irene Mayaka saying I'm a father to girls, which is indeed true. I'm a father to 4 very beautiful girls. And 2 of them are teenagers, so I want to believe they're in need of sanitary towels. But since their father is able to provide for them, there are millions of other Kenyan girls whose fathers and mothers cannot afford to provide sanitary towels for them. And we cannot overstate the need to get sanitary towels to our young ladies in schools. And if possible, even to mothers in markets who cannot afford. Honorable Speaker, you know, many people in government take it that the political class ask for these things for the sake. But the political class, including our very gracious women reps, ask for these things because they're in touch with the people and they know the problems that the people are living with. And as you have directed, Honorable Speaker, you know, this function has been a CISO, as Honorable Sabina Chege has said, and she has been the chair of education. She chaired the health committee in the last parliament also. And now I know that we have the social protection committee in our standing orders. But there has been a CISO between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Gender and Public Service. And Honorable Speaker, at one point this function was in the Ministry of Gender, then moved to Education. Now I'm told it is back to Gender, and it's uncertain. As I speak, I cannot speak with certainty where the funds currently reside. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I will commit to get a statement, a joint statement by the Cabinet Secretary for Education and the Cabinet Secretary for Gender, first to tell us if because we appropriated money, for all I can remember, in the last financial year we appropriated money for sanitary towels. In this financial year we have also appropriated money for sanitary towels. So we must know from the last financial year, what did that money do if it is indeed true that there are no sanitary towels in our schools? In this financial year, have they procured? Have they delivered? And what are they doing to make sure that that last mile delivery to the girls happens and in due course? So I will commit, Honorable Speaker, hopefully by Tuesday next week to give a statement to the House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
It is well directed. Note from my direction is not Committee of Health. It is actually the 2 ministries, Gender and Education. Thank you, Majority Leader. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Chairperson, Committee on Diaspora Affairs and Migrant Workers.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, on Wednesday, 4th October 2023. Reports of the Diaspora Affairs and Migrant Workers Committee on the study visit to Ethiopia from 7th to 14th May 2023. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, Select Committee on NGCDF. Microphone.
This other. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 4th October 2023. A report of the Select Committee on National Government Constituency Development Fund on its consideration of nominees to the National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee for Balambala, Gatanga, and Nyeri Town constituencies. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, the 4th of October 2023. Report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning on its consideration of the following. 1, the Insurance Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2023. 2, the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 62 of 2023. And 3, consideration of the sessional paper number 1 of 2023 on the Kenya National Population Policy for Sustainable Development. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Chairperson, Select Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 4th October 2023. Report of the Select Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms. Thank you.
Thank you. Next order. Chairperson, sports. Yeah. Before we go to the next order.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 4th October 2023. Report of the Departmental Committee on Sports and Culture on the collaboration and partnership meeting on sports and education held in London, United Kingdom from 16th to 23rd June 2023. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Member, Chairman, Education Committee. Get the mic to the Chair, Education.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to issue a statement from the Departmental Committee on Education and Research. Honorable Speaker, I rise to give the following statement, pursuant to Standing Order 44.2c regarding the infrastructure development funds for junior secondary schools.
Honorable Meli, I think you're not on this order. Hold on, we are on papers. We are on papers. Order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Chairperson, Select Committee on NGCDF.
Madam Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the report of the National Government Constituency Development Fund on 3 constituency committees laid on the table of the House, Wednesday, 4th October 2023, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 43.1 and 43.2 of the National Government Constituency Development Fund, Act 2015, approves the list of nominees for appointment to the following 3 constituency committees of the National Government Constituency Development Fund. 1, Balambala Constituency. 2, Gatanga Constituency. And 3, Nyeri Town Constituency. Thank you.
Thank you. The next one will be Honorable Gathoni Mushomba. Wa Mushomba, member for Githunguri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Today, 4th of October, I seek to give the following motion: establishment of national policy to combat obstetric violence in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, that aware that Article 43(1)(a) of the Constitution provides for the right of every person to access the highest attainable standard of health, further aware that poor quality of health services, especially maternal care, has been a recurring concern among women in the country, noting that there is increased pre- and postpartum mistreatment and dehumanized care of women by healthcare providers, also known as obstetric violence. Further noting that obstetric violence includes, but not limited to, disrespectful and abusive behavior, physical and verbal abuse, neglect, forced medical procedures, humiliation and assault in the healthcare settings and compounds, concerned that sustained class-based disparities shape different maternal and infant health outcomes, with the women, more specifically in low socioeconomic status, experiencing greater levels of obstetric violence. Further concerned that this is not only affecting women's physical and mental health, but also impacts on the overall health outcomes of mothers and their newborns, significantly contributing to higher maternal mortality rates, cognizant to the fact that there is existing no national policy or framework to address and prevent obstetric violence. Now, therefore, this House resolves that national government, through the Ministry of Health, develops a policy on prevention of obstetric violence in healthcare facilities in the country and provide a framework for regular monitoring and reporting of the cases to curb incidences of pre- and postpartum mistreatment of women seeking health services. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The next one will be the Chairperson Select Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion: that this House adopts the report of the Select Committee on Parliamentary Broadcasting and Library on enhancing reporting of parliamentary business on online platforms, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 4th October 2023. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The next one will be Chairperson, Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give the following notice of motion. Consideration of the session of paper number 1 of 2023. Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House adopts the session of paper number 1 of 2023 on Kenya National Population Policy for Sustainable Development, laid on the table of the House this afternoon, Wednesday, the 4th of October, 2023.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable members, we will, for the convenience of the House, change the order of the order paper a bit. We'll go to order number 8, then we will revert back to order number 7.
Order number 8, the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill, National Assembly Bill number 60 of 2022. Second reading, question to be put.
I therefore put the question that the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 60 of 2022, be read as second of 2022 be read a second time. As many as are of that opinion say aye. As many as are of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it.
A bill for an act of parliament to make minor amendments to the statute law. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Order, members. On this one, before we get the CS, we'll have a few members do statements. Honorable Jerry Maina, member for Kirinyaga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 44-2E. I wish to make a personal statement regarding an assault on me by known assailants in Kirinyaga County. Honorable Speaker, on 22nd August 2023, while on duty in Kirinyaga County, I became the target of a politically instigated assault that resulted in severe injuries and immediate hospitalization. This harrowing incident has left a lasting effect on me and the people of Kirinyaga and brought alive the reality of the tumultuous political landscape. Honorable Speaker, as a young leader, I've always believed in the power of politics and its potential of bringing positive change in the society. I have dedicated myself to making a difference in the lives of my constituents through my political participation. However, the events of that day shattered my idealistic view of politics and exposed the dark underbelly of power struggles and political rivalries in Kirinyaga County. Notably, the planners, facilitators, and and the executors of this heinous attack are well known to me, led by Governor Anne Waiguru. Honorable Speaker, the pursuit of political power should never come at the expense of human life and dignity. It is unfathomable that some individuals are willing to go to extreme lengths, including resorting to violence, to achieve their political ambitions and neutralize perceived threats. The attack serves as a stark reminder that the space for young leaders in politics is often under attack and fraught with danger. Nevertheless, we must not be discouraged, but must remain resilient. Our voices have to be heard. As young leaders, we have fresh perspectives, innovative ideas, and the passion to effect real change. It is time for us to step up and take our rightful place in the political arena. Honorable Speaker, my predicament is a call to action for all leaders. We must advocate for political tolerance and create space where differing opinions can coexist. Violence should never be used as an option for settling political scores. Together, we can shape a brighter future for our nation, one that is built on the principles of tolerance, inclusivity, and progress. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, I extend my sincere appreciation to my constituents and my colleagues in Parliament for the overwhelming support during the difficult period. To the people of Kirinyaga, I assure you, I am committed to serving you diligently and in articulating your interests and concerns without fear or favor, come whatever may. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Kirinyaga. This being a personal statement, no comment will be made. The next statement will be the member for Tinderet. Honorable members, I know you wanted to speak to this, I can see the interest, but read your standing orders. 42E. 44.2E, you cannot make any comments on a personal statement. Chairperson, Education Committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to issue a statement as a chairperson of the Permanent Committee on Education. Honorable Speaker, I rise to give the following statement pursuant to Standing Order number 44.2B regarding the infrastructure development for junior secondary schools. Madam Speaker, you may wish to note that the National Treasury allocated the Ministry of Education, State Department for Basic Education 3.379 billion shillings in the 2023-2024 financial year for the construction of classrooms and integrated learning resources centers within the junior secondary schools. Madam Speaker, the amount is a conditional grant and as proposed to be jointly managed by the Ministry of Education and a National Government Constituency Development Fund, NGCDF, to ensure synergy and timeless implementation of the program. Madam Speaker, the amount is allocated to all constituencies based on grade 7 enrollment, and each constituency will merge a shilling for a shilling as a requirement. The 2023-2024 constituency proposals must have a Ministry of Education input approved by the board. In addition, as a further requirement, NGCDF must incorporate or should incorporate sub-county education officers and deputy county commissioners in identifying the beneficiary schools and implementation of the projects. Madam Speaker, the statement also has an attachment. In this statement, there is an attachment of all the monies that shall actually be wired to all the constituencies across the country, and it shall actually be based on the number of classrooms or class 7 classrooms every constituency is going to have. Madam Speaker, I want to thank the chair for the budget committee, because in my presentation to the budget committee during the 2023-2024 budget, I actually proposed that these infrastructure funds be taken to every constituency so that the member of parliament can manage it and actually stop the members going to the ministry to plead for these resources. These resources has been actually subdivided to go to every constituency based on the population of that particular constituency or county. As indicated in the table, it shall actually be divided based on the number of schools and the population for each constituency. Madam Speaker, the Committee of Education also saw it wise that in future, when we have more infrastructure funds, it shall be channeled through the NGCDF, where the Member of Parliament is actually able to make sure that this money is given to specific needy areas. Madam Speaker, I've sat in this Parliament for the last 10 years, and I've realized that certain members of Parliament would go line up in the Ministry of Education pleading for infrastructure funds, and they would not get it. But this time, with the wisdom of the government of the day, of the Excellency President William Ruto, we have seen it right that this money be taken straight away to the constituencies, and every constituency member, it shall actually be ring-fenced to build the grade 7, grade 8, and grade 9 classrooms or laboratories, and the ministry is asking that you add the shillings that you have been given, and for those who have not, who have gotten that amount. From this document, I've seen areas where there are a lot of population, they get more money, which is actually the reason why, even in our last discussion, even in the NGCDF, the higher the population, the more the amount. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. Before I call the next statement, allow me to recognize in the public gallery members visiting Parliament, PCA Ifiriga Church Women's Guild, Chuka Igambangombe constituency, Tharaka-Nithi County, seated in the public gallery. On my own behalf and of the House, we welcome you to observe the proceedings of the House. We will give the next opportunity to the member for Mathare. And Honorable Member for Mathare, before you do your statement, I would like members to be very aware of Standing Order number 43, that when you want to make a general statement, it is after 6:30 on Tuesdays. So yours has been allowed by the indulgence of the Speaker.
Thank you. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the indulgence. I rise to raise this general statement on deployment of 1,000 Kenya police officers to the Republic of Haiti. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 43.1, I wish to make a general statement regarding the planned deployment of 1,000 police officers to the Republic of Haiti. As a House, we appreciate that as part of fulfillment of international obligations to the international cause, Kenya, as a member of the community of nations, is obliged to take certain measures, including security interventions abroad. It is on this backdrop that the Kenya government is believed to have committed to deploy 1,000 police officers to the Republic of Haiti to assist in restoring law and order. Kenya's police mission to the Republic of Haiti has since been ratified by the United Nations Security Council. Honorable Speaker, service of Kenya police officers outside Kenya on a reciprocal arrangement with reciprocating countries is guided by parts 15 of the National Police Service Act 2011. Of note, Section 107 and 108 of the Act presupposes 3 conditions that must prevail before the President orders any such number of police officers to proceed on another country for service. First, there must be in place a legitimate government. Second, there must be reciprocity. And third, there must be a request from the reciprocating country. The government ought to assure Kenyans that the planned deployment meets the conditions set out in the Act. In addition, there have been sad reports of Kenya police officers falling victim when combating local criminal gangs in the country. There is need for the country to be assured that the Kenya police is adequately suited to undertake the foreign mission in terms of technical preparedness and capabilities, knowledge of the Haitian terrain, and the language cultural awareness. It is also important that the nation at large and families of officers who will be selected to undertake the mission in Haiti, in particular, be guaranteed that adequate measures have been put in place to mitigate casualties and to cushion families of the deployed officers from psychological trauma associated with deployment, including the sad eventualities of losing their loved ones abroad. Honorable Speaker, Article 208 of the Constitution envisages national security as the protection against internal and external threats to Kenya's territorial integrity and sovereignty, its people, their rights, freedom, property, peace, stability, and prosperity, and other national interests. The country has been experiencing an increase in the number of insecurity cases in several parts of the country, where hopeless Kenyans continue to bear the brunt of attack by criminals and terrorist gangs. It is a matter of concern that the government ought to first assure security and a surplus to deploy on missions abroad. As a matter of fact, stabilizing homeland security takes precedent over committing the police officers abroad. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I call on the government to treat the deployment of Kenya police officers to the Republic of Haiti with abundance of caution and exercise a well-calculated balance between national interest and global interest so as to not jeopardize national security. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Signed today, Member for Parliament, Mathare constituency. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Mathare. Honorable members, Standing Orders 43, you can read it all the way to 3, has given the leeway for the Speaker to exert discretion. So I'll give 3 comments of a maximum of 3 minutes each. Then we will get to the CS because she's already here. I'll give the Leader of Minority first.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for using your discretion very, very wisely in the manner you've done. Madam Speaker, the issues raised in Honorable Olwach's statement are grave. They are extremely weighty issues that this House must get seized of. Madam Speaker, even as we speak, and from what we are reading and hearing on international media, it is not clear who made the request for the Kenyan government to send police officers to Haiti. We don't know that it's the US government. We don't know that it's the Haiti government. We don't know whether it is the UN. Even though later on the UN passed a resolution at the Security Council. But that was a very general resolution. It did not specify that Kenya was even to lead that mission. I was very keen. That Security Council resolution did not name Kenya as the leader of that mission, that very dangerous mission. So it behoves, even as we wait for the CS to come here next week to explain, we must express ourselves as a House that this is an extremely dangerous adventure. Extremely dangerous adventure, which is ill-thought, which is reckless, and which is, I would say, very careless. It is extremely careless of whoever has conceived of this very, very ill-conceived notion. Madam Speaker, I conclude that even as the CS comes, let the House register its feelings. And there's no point of trying to say, no. Just wait. You will talk, Honorable Pukose. Yes. As far as I know, you have got no expertise on Haiti matters. Just relax and deal with the health issues. Yeah. Madam Speaker, I'm speaking from a point of authority and knowledge. Yes. We cannot use our children as guinea pigs on an international arena. Our children cannot be used as guinea pigs on an international arena. Why can't the US send its policemen to Haiti, which is next door? Haiti is just next door. They can even go by boat.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Honorable Member for Endebess.
Madam Speaker, I want to make a comment on the statement by the Honorable Anthony Olwach on Kenya taking its police officers to Haiti. And I want to dissociate myself from the comments made by the Minority Leader with all due respect, that Kenya has been known to participate in international peacekeeping missions, whether in Somalia, whether in Namibia, whether in Darfur, and many other places. So, Honorable Speaker, because of the distinguished service of our servicemen, whether in the military, lately in Congo, EDRC Congo, in Goma area, or even our police officers, I think it is not in good faith to condemn an action, a noble action, which our police officers are going to carry out in Haiti. And the UN, when they discussed and made resolutions, it was actually unanimously passed to support Kenya's mission of 1,000. I know there was abstaining by China and Russia. I'm well informed about that. But it was unanimous, because abstaining does not mean opposition. And therefore, I think we should be able to respect the decision of the government and give all the support necessary to our police officers to carry out peaceful missions in their new mandate, which is under the UN in Haiti. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I want to support the decision by our police officers.
Honorable Junet.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is one of the most dangerous missions that the government of the Republic of Kenya has ever sent outside this country, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, numbers don't lie. The statistics are very clear. In the last 9 months, 2,400 people were killed in Haiti by gangs. 900 women were raped. 900 people were maimed. The statistics are there in black and white, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a country that has killed, I don't know, 3 or 4 presidents of theirs. 4. And you're sending here people who normally carry, you know, these jembe rungus to just beat us as mere people in the street here, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you think it is a business of jembe rungus in town here, there? Madam Speaker, this is a serious matter, and I want to thank Honorable Oluoch for bringing it. Madam Speaker, this is a matter that requires deep thoughts, Madam Speaker. Look, as a neighbor, we are dealing with insurgents from Somalia on Al-Shabaab, and every day we are having casualties. The shores of Florida is just 2 hours from Haiti, Madam Speaker, by boat. 2 hours only by boat to Florida. Why are you not helping those people? Why do you want to send Kenyans there, Madam Speaker? This one, I strongly oppose, Madam Speaker, and this matter should be brought to Parliament first for debate and ratification before any police officer leaves this country. Otherwise,
your time is up, Honorable Junet. I will indulge the majority leader, but honorable members, also remember, member for Mathare has made a general statement. So there are other avenues of bringing this issue to the floor, but I'll give the majority leader, we close it at that and go to the questions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me thank the member for Mathare, Honorable Anthony Oluoch, for that general statement, which I must commend him because it was done in a rather professional manner, not in a manner to disparage our officers, not in a manner that is unpatriotic, as the leader of minority and the minority whip have endeavored to show their unpatriotism in disparaging our officers, our sons and daughters in uniform. And Honorable Speaker, we also can't use this floor to discuss a friendly nation like the United States of America, unless we have a substantive motion that has been brought, and I believe the statement by Honorable Anthony Oluoch had nothing to do with the state of the United States. Therefore, even to be imputing improper motive on the United States or indeed our officers who are being deployed in parts of the world, and we are part of the global world and the nations of this world, Honorable Speaker. And I've heard what the Honorable Junet is asking, that they share borders, of course, with other countries, just like the Kenyan state does not share a border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. And our officers are there. with the approval of this House. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, if we are part of the community of nations, we must act as part of that community of nations. Today it is Haiti. Who knows? Tomorrow could be one of our neighbors. Could be us. If we allowed Honorable Junet and Honorable Pio Andai to continue with the reckless civil riots that we saw them engage in earlier this year. That is how countries degenerate to become what Haiti is today. And therefore, being part of the global community of nations, Honorable Speaker, we must be patriotic enough to support our men and women in uniform. And Honorable Speaker, that does not mean that if we are sending our sons and daughters to a faraway country, Honorable Speaker, to serve in the community of nations, the best we can do is to encourage them, not to instill and sell fear to them and their families. That is a height of unpatriotism. That is a height of being reckless as leaders.
Madam Speaker, is the Honorable Ichungwa in order to continually discuss our leaders, Azimio leaders, in bad light, while knowing that the Kenyan police are not trained in the military affairs and are going to die in Haiti? Is he?
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, please allow me to ignore the Honorable Jack Wamboka, the member for Bumula, because he may not understand some of these things and we understand him. Because, Honorable Speaker, I was saying the police are going to Haiti on a policing mission to restore law and order like they do every day. Honorable Speaker, they are not going into a nation where there is war. And there's a whole difference between restoring law and order. That is why we are not sending the Kenyan Defense Forces. We are sending the police to restore, to deal with gangs, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, that particular, Honorable Speaker, if you can protect me from these unnecessary interjections by people who
Actually, Majority Leader, we had capped 2 minutes. Kindly wind up.
Let me finish. It's only that I'm being interrupted by this otherwise reckless shouting by the people on the front bench. Honorable Speaker, I was saying, let us be patriotic enough not to sell fear to our officers, to encourage our officers. Many young men and women in this country are waiting for police recruitment to
Majority
join
Leader,
those
do you want to
forces.
be informed by Honorable Junet?
I definitely would not desire to be informed on any subject.
You have 30
touching
seconds.
on security
Wind
by
up.
the Honorable Junet,
30
not on
seconds.
security.
Majority Leader, 30 seconds.
I do
Wind up.
I do not wish to be informed. Honorable Speaker, I was saying, let us allow our officers and as many young Kenyans wait on the waiting lines to join our forces, be it the police service, be it the military. As leaders, we must be in the forefront to show patriotism, to support them, encourage them, and ensure and pray for them as they go to serve the community of nations, Honorable Speaker. The same leaders who are disparaging our police officers here are the same leaders who are crying like small babies to have their security restored, including their top leadership. You should be ashamed of yourselves to be disparaging.
Order, members. Majority Leader, order, members. Order, members. We will not indulge more than that on this issue. The CS Health is in the House. We will go to the questions. We have already overshot the time that we would have had the CS start. So we will have the first questioner, Honorable Mishimboko. Ask your question. Honorable Member for Nyando, take your seat. Honorable Mishi, ask your question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I raise to ask question 009 of 2023. Could the Cabinet Secretary enumerate the data analysis in respect of cholera cases in areas where oral cholera vaccination exercise was conducted in February 2023? B, state the contribution of International Coordinating Group, ICG, in the cholera vaccination campaign, including the number of vaccine doses and the condition associated with this support in the country. 3, elaborate on the strategies that the ministry in collaboration with county government have put in place to ensure effective distribution and administration of cholera vaccine in the most affected counties in the ongoing oral cholera vaccination drive. And the last one, state the number of personnel involved and resources allocated to the ongoing oral cholera vaccination drive. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Cabinet Secretary. Please note we have quite some number of questions, so keep your answers short and precise so that we can make progress. Please take the microphone.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to appear before this honorable House today to respond to the various questions that have been raised by honorable members. Indeed, it's my first time to appear before the full House to directly interact with the honorable members, as my previous engagements have been through the committees. I therefore submit as follows on the question that has been raised by the Honorable Mishimboko. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, as a country, we suffer from periodic cholera outbreaks every 5 to 7 years since the first cases was reported in 1971. The current cholera outbreak has been ongoing since October 2022, and to date, we have reported 12,000 cases and 197 deaths. Honorable members, to mitigate this, the Ministry of Health, in conjunction with other sectors of government, including the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Interior and National Government Coordination, development partners, religious leaders, the media and the county governments, we developed 2022 to 2030 National Multi-Sectoral Cholera Elimination Plan, which my colleague at Ministry of Water and myself have endorsed, and it is due for launch this month. The plan aims to implement several promotive, preventive, and response interventions before and during outbreaks. The main interventions include engaging communities to use latrines, practice hand washing with soap and water, use treated or boiled water for drinking, and keep their environments clean. The government is also expanding safe water and sanitation infrastructure across the country. In addition to these traditional cholera prevention and control measures, the country conducted its first oral cholera vaccination campaign in February 2023 in the highest risk sub-counties in line with our multi-sectoral cholera elimination plan. The goal of the National Multi-Sectoral Plan targets to reduce local transmission of cholera cases to 0 by 2030 and reduce cholera deaths to 0 by 2030. We have just concluded the second phase of the campaigns, which was done in August 2023, this past weekend, in 8 sub-counties of Embakasi Central, Kamkunji, Nairobi, Kajiado East in Kajiado, Wajir North in Wajir, Suba South in Homa Bay, Moyale in Marsabit, Mandera East in Mandera. We also targeted institutions in Machakos and new arrival refugees in the refugee camps within Garissa. The August 2023 campaign targets to reach 1.7 million people. The February campaign involved 9 sub-counties in 4 counties, Embakasi East and Mathare in Nairobi, Wajir East and Wajir South in Wajir, Garissa Town, Dadaab, Fafi, Lajera, including the refugee camps, and Bura in Tana River County. We targeted to reach 2.2 million people, and we were able to vaccinate 99.2% of them. As a result of the campaign, we saw a drastic reduction in cholera cases in the affected counties and also nationally, in a table that I have attached to my presentation. Speaker and honorable members, the contributions of International Coordinating Group, including vaccine doses and conditions. The International Coordinating Group is an international consortium that brings together 4 members agencies, that is the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, which has a strong country presence for community health promotion, local social resource mobilization, and provides support to states during disasters and epidemics. The second agency is Medicines Sans Frontiers, which is an independent field-based NGO that provides healthcare to vulnerable populations in emergency settings. The third agency is the United Nations Children Funds, UNICEF, which conducts wide-scale vaccine procurement and shipment and provides technical support on campaign planning, implementation in country, focusing specifically on social mobilization and cold chain. And the fourth agency is World Health Organization, which provides global public health advice and technical support to countries during outbreaks. WHO focuses on vaccine stockpile management, surveillance, preparedness, and response to disease outbreaks. WHO also functions as a secretariat for the ICG. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, vaccine manufacturers, vaccine equipment providers, and financial donor institutions are also engaged in the ICG operations. The core mandate of ICG is to make available and ensure equitable access to licensed vaccines for cholera, meningitis, yellow fever, and Ebola virus disease during outbreaks. The ICG manages the global emergency vaccine stockpiles and, working with partners, donors, and manufacturers, determines the size and composition with the goal of ensuring that adequate stocks of emergency supplies are accessible for emergency response. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, vaccine security stocks can be accessed by any country facing any epidemic anywhere in the world, as long as the country request fulfills the ICG's criteria for release of vaccine stocks. As a first step, a country must complete and submit a request secretariat the standard application forms. The annexes and other relevant documents should be submitted alongside the application. Countries are encouraged to submit the request to the ICG Secretariat within 7 days after confirmation of an outbreak. The ICG Secretariat at WHO then circulates the request for agencies within a day after reception and review country submission. Additional information can be requested from the country if need be. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, requests are evaluated considering the epidemiological situation, vaccine strategy, vaccine availability in the stockpile, pre-existing stocks in the country, and operational aspects at the epidemic response. Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, finances the ICG stockpiles of cholera, Ebola, meningitis, yellow fever vaccines, and Gavi-eligible countries can receive the vaccine free of cost. Non-Gavi supported countries are responsible for reimbursing the cost of the vaccines and its transport for finding a source for the operational costs of the campaign. Once the request for vaccine supplies has been approved by ICG members, a process is put in place to ship the vaccines and supplies. Prior to shipment, the recipient country must demonstrate that there is sufficient cold chain capacity to receive and store the vaccines and supplies. Additionally, customs and regulatory approvals must be granted and provided to UNICEF. Honorable Speaker, as a country, we have categorized all counties according to their cholera risk status as part of our national plan. For the February campaign, we received 842,952 doses of the vaccine, which was sent to Dadaab and Fafi sub-counties and the refugee camps. And we also received 1,370,991 doses of the Uvocol vaccine, which we sent to Bura, Lagdera, and Garissa, Wajir East, South, Embakasi East, and Madare. The Gavi Alliance supported the vaccine and operational costs of the campaign. WHO is responsible for funds administration in country. During the current round, we targeted 13 counties based on their confirmation of outbreaks, but only 5 high-risk counties, namely Nairobi, Kajiado, Marsabit, Homa Bay, Wajir, were approved, including institutions in Machakos and new arrival refugees in Garissa. Mandera East was also considered in the Mandera Triangle application. That had included all the counties bordering Somalia and Ethiopia. A total of 1,710,9 900 vaccine doses were approved for the August 2023 campaign. From the foregoing, only small fractions of our requests are approved for outbreak response. This is because of the limited global stockpiles. There are many ongoing cholera outbreaks in many parts of the world, including our neighboring African countries. The ministry is, however, working with the ICG, the Global Task Force on Cholera, and Gavi to finalize the multi-year preventive oral cholera vaccine plan to ensure we protect the high-risk counties. Speaker and honorable members, I would like to emphasize that the oral cholera vaccine is a complementary intervention that must be implemented alongside the basic water, sanitation, and hygiene measures. On the third part of the question, honorable Speaker and honorable members, the strategies that the ministry, in collaboration with county governments, have put in place to ensure effective distribution and administration of the vaccine. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the ministry, in conjunction with participating counties, has established incident management structures at both levels that comprise teams responsible for coordination, planning and logistics, management and operations. To ensure effective distribution of vaccines, national and county teams have been trained on all aspects of the campaign, which not only include vaccine administration, but also surveillance, case management, prevention, risk communication, and community engagement. Granular microplanning at county level has ensured that all households and other areas of community congregation have been mapped and are being visited by vaccination teams. Our primary vaccination strategy is through house-to-house visits. However, we are also vaccinating in health facilities and temporary fixed posts such as markets and schools in the participating counties. We also have teams specifically trained to reach hard-to-reach areas and transit areas in the counties. To support these efforts, transportation and facilitative field allowances have been supported by the Gavi Alliance through the ICG. The ministry and the county departments of health have trained and deployed supervisors at all levels. We have also deployed innovative ICT supervision tools to monitor the campaign. We are also reviewing daily campaign performance through daily review meetings at both national and county levels. The number of personnel involved and resource allocated to the ongoing cholera vaccine drive, honorable Speaker and honorable members, a total of 14,812 personnel are involved in the campaign directly. This number includes community health promoters, healthcare workers acting as vaccinators, field team supervisors, sub-county supervisors, county supervisors, national supervisors, and partners supporting the field teams. The total operational costs for the campaign is 129,422,534 Kenya shillings. I submit, Chair and honorable members.
Thank you, CS. We will allow the questioner the first chance to ask a follow-up question, then we'll have one more, as has been guided by the House. Honorable Mishi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I just want to appreciate the Cabinet Secretary for a detailed response on my question, but I just want to put a supplementary question on what he has just answered. As we see that the El Nino is just around the corner, I just want to understand whether there are some areas of collaboration which have started engaging the county government to ensure that the El Nino is not going to affect most of the part of this country. I'm thinking on the area of poor drainage facility, the issue of poor sanitation. So which mechanism have you put or other measures to ensure that when El Nino is here with us, then there are some measures which are there to protect us? The other issue is that because now you are through with the pilot program on the cholera vaccination, when are you going to roll out the full vaccination to all counties? Because now, because of El Nino, it's like all the counties are going to be affected with waterborne diseases, where cholera is among them. Honorable Speaker, I also want to understand whether there is a component of training to the officers who are going to be doing reach out programs in terms of the oral cholera vaccination. Because right now in Mombasa, there are still some officers who are complaining that they were not paid, they were not trained, and yet they were involved in this process. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable CS, note that the follow-up questions, then you'll do one response. Member for Yatta, if you're willing to ask a follow-up question, kindly indicate in the intervention.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the CS. I think my question ties to what Honorable Micho has already asked, but on medical supplies, how many medical supplies or how much are you budgeting for medical supplies in most of the constituencies? Thank you.
CS, please take and answer those follow-up questions.
Thank you, Speaker and honorable members. On the preparedness for El Nino, Speaker and honorable members, we have a multi-agency, multi-sectoral committee being chaired by the Deputy President, which we did our first meeting last week on preparedness. And equally at the ministry level, we have a committee that is working on preparedness. We have submitted our budget to the joint committee of the multi-agency that is being discussed this evening. Chair, Speaker, and honorable members, regarding the payment to the staff who worked on the cholera vaccine, I have confirmed that at the ministry level, we have done all payments. But also want to say that this exercise was being done in collaboration with the county governments. So we will need to verify if all county governments have been able to pay their people who participated in the vaccine campaign. Lastly, Madam Speaker and honorable members, on the issue of supplies, we do our annual budgets for health commodities and supplies, and so far we have been able to put to tender for this year a total of supplies worth 5 billion shillings, and that is to cater for all the facilities. But Chair and honorable members, I would like to say that it is the responsibility of the county governments to make their orders to our Kenya Medical Supplies Agency for the supplies to be able to reach them. So we shall be working collaboratively to ensure that then the facilities are well equipped with the commodities that they require for healthcare. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable CS. We'll now move to the next question. The member for Ikolomani, Honorable Bernard Shinali, had written to the Speaker and requested that Honorable Titus Hamala ask the question on his behalf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm standing in for Honorable Shinali, and it's question 011 of 2023, question Roman 1. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide details on the amount of money that the National Hospital Insurance Fund, NHIF, has dispersed per county with respect to financial year 2020 to 2021, 2021 to 2022, and financial year 2022 to 2023 towards the implementation of the Linda Mama Boresha Jamii program and enrollment of the poor households to the NHIF scheme. Question Roman 2. Explain the measures that the ministry has put in place to ensure timely disbursement of funds to the NHIF in order to guarantee seamless access to service under the fund. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Waziri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members. This question reached me this morning while I was actively participating in the Public Investments Committee. So I have done my response, but I would also seek time so that we can submit other comprehensive documents. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, for the 3 financial years requested by the Member of Parliament from Ikolomani, the NHIF dispersed a total of 14,550,650,327 Kenya shillings, broken down as follows. 2020-2021, Kenya shillings, 4,950,996,788. The year 2021-2022, 4,659,611,252. 2022-2023, 4,940,191,996,788. 42,287 shillings. More so, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, for the year 2022-2023, 253,400 were supported under the health subsidy programs of orphans and vulnerable children. The same year, 587,900 were supported under the health subsidy programs for older persons and persons with severe disability. And lastly, of the same year, 978,484 persons were supported under the UHC program. On the second bit of the question, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, since April 2023, my ministry has endeavored to reach out to all government entities that owe money to the fund. Of the 26 billion owed to the fund, we have received 13 billion from other government agencies. That is at the close of 2022-2023. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, it is a continuous exercise to keep speaking to the other government agencies, which I do, and I will not tire to remind all that owe money to the fund to meet their obligations for effective and efficient service delivery to all Kenyans that depend on us. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, per county tabulation, I have it, but it is such a huge document, about 20 pages. If I went through column by column, Honorable Speaker, I would take a lot of time, but I stand guided. I have it with me. I submit.
Honorable Titus.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just a follow-up question to the CS. Honorable CS, are you aware that we still have a lot of challenges when it comes to NHIF, whereby you find accredited hospitals and medical centers, but when patients show up with NHIF cards, they're still turned away? And just in addition to that, to this question that I'm asking you, I personally went to a clinic at Gateway Mall, Mombasa Road, and when I showed up with my card, I was told that it can only cater for consultation fees and nothing else. I don't know if you are aware. Thank you.
Mheshimiwa Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi swali langu linaenda kwa Waziri wa Afya. Sote tunajua kuwa NHIF inasemekana kuwa itarudi upande ule mwingine katika vitengo vitatu. Mheshimiwa Waziri, mimi nataka kujua wale wafanyikazi ambao walikuwa wakifanya katika idara ya NHIF, mumewapangia kitu gani? Maanake tunasikia wengine watambua waende nyumbani. Hawa ni wafanyikazi na Kenya na wakati mgumu sana. Kwa hiyo naomba unijibu kuwa wale wafanyakazi wa NHIF mmewapangia kufanya vipi? Asante sana.
Honorable CS, I want to note to you that the bill is still in Parliament. On the question of Mheshimiwa Zamzam, respond to the question from Honorable Titus. This one, the bill is not even assented by the President, so let us avoid preempting bills that are still before the House or the Senate. So answer to Honorable Titus, and I think I would direct that the document that is one of your responses be submitted to the questioner so that he can be able to follow up on the question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. I appreciate the question, and it actually highlights the challenges, the many challenges that we have at NHIF. Honorable Member, you have listed about patients being turned away, that they are not able to use their card, and equally you have highlighted that at times when you appear, you are told that it can only cover the consultation fees. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, we have a myriad of challenges, and that is why we are working on reforms of being able to reform NHIF, so that we are able to work on this. And Speaker and Honorable Members, we have now defined essential benefits package, where all Kenyans will be able to access services without a limit and without exclusions. And therefore, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I would like to seek indulgence of members that you allow us to go through the reforms that we have put at NHIF, so that all this myriad of challenges that we experience, we can be able to put them behind us. I submit, Speaker and members.
Bomboko, what is out of order?
Honorable Speaker, with respect and thanks, I see a danger of the CS telling the House that people will not receive medical care until when we do the reforms. I totally agree with you that in terms of the reforms, the bills are here and it's still property of the House. But meanwhile, as a follow-up of what Mheshimiwa Amala was saying, does it mean that, Honorable Speaker, does it mean then that no NHIF services will be provided until when we transit? That's a danger given that people are outside, they are sick.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Honorable CS, can you clarify?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Member. Services at NHIF are continuing to be offered, and we are continuing to work. We have actually just finalized a governance issue where we now have a CEO who we shall be announcing in the next few days. We have directors who are now going to ensure that management of NHIF as it is, even as we plan for transition, is able to operate optimally. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, we are also leveraging on technology. So we are introducing technology so that the current NHIF in its form can still leverage on technology and provide services. And we have a whole 1 year in terms of planning and providing services to Kenyans. So we'll continue to take feedback and to tighten where we receive feedback that we have loose ends, we'll need to tighten. And specifically on these issues, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I will do a follow-up with the NHIF. I submit, Speaker and Members.
We'll go to the next question, the member for Masinga, Honorable Joshua Mwalio.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to ask the Cabinet Secretary for Health. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain the reasons for failure by the Kenya National Hospital, KNH, superannuation scheme, DB scheme, to settle pension benefits owed to retirees, its non-compliance with the updated and applicable calculations of such a pension benefits, and state the genesis of the miscalculations. Roman 2, provide details on the status of implementation of the decision of the Retirement Benefits Authority of 18th April 2019 on a pension dispute and a subsequent ruling by the Retirement Benefits Authority Appeals Tribunal, RBAT, dated 21st April 2021. Roman 3, provide a definite date when the affected retirees will be paid their dues, which have been pending for years and continue to attract interest to date.
Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members. On that question, I will respond to the part 1 of the question, and then on part 2 and part 3, I will give an explanation and a request to the House. Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, Kenyatta National Hospital Pension Scheme, that is the defined benefits, has endeavored to pay pensioners promptly and without default. And that is to clarify that on a monthly basis, the retirees get their pension. This scheme was closed to new entrant via a government directive treasury circular of number 18, 2010, dated 24th November 2010. There have been concerns, however, on how the benefits have been calculated, especially after the closure of the defined benefit scheme to new entrants. As stipulated by the Retirement Benefits Authority, schemes are guided by the trust deeds and rules, and as such, the Kenyatta National Hospital defined benefit scheme is guided by the trust deeds and rules. At the point of closure, the trustees amended the trust deeds and rules to allow the closure with effect from 30th June to 2011 with the following amendments. Pensionable emoluments were to be increased at a fixed 5% per annum with effect from 30th June 2011, and that was considered as the closing date. Pensionable service for all members would be frozen at the closing date, and future service would be accrued in the new definition contribution scheme. This amendment was rejected by the Retirement Benefits Authority, indicating it did not conform with the existing laws in the following ways. Members aged 45 years or above, as at the closing date, were to be given an option of remaining in the scheme and continue to earn benefits in respect of pensionable service after the closing date. The evaluation rate of 5% per annum did not meet the minimum threshold of 7% as set out in Clause 321 in the Prudential Guideline for Scheme Conversion. Guided by Retirement Benefits Authority, the trustees amended the TDR, and the closure terms of the scheme were then revised to ensure compliance, and members above 45 years were given the option to remain in the scheme. The change of the evaluation rate from 5% to 7% led to the first recomputation of benefits in 2017 for all members who had left, and benefits were calculated in line with the original closure terms, and shortfalls were paid with interest from the original date of calculation. In 2017, trustees received complaints from pensioners that the salary applied in the recomputation was not the salary at the point of exit, but rather the salary at the closure date of 30th June 2011, which grew at 7%. The recomputation of the benefit was done and the additional benefits paid. In 2019, the retirees petitioned the Retirement Benefits Authority, questioning the trustees' use of pensionable salary capped as at June 2011 and not salary preceding retirement date. These complaints have developed and led to a decision by the Retirement Benefits Authority dated 18th April 2019 and the tribunal case. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, I have learned this morning that we have a new direction from the Retirement Benefits Authority. So I would like to seek the indulgence of the Speaker and honorable members that you allow me to go and look at the new regulations that have been issued and provide a substantive response up to the effective dates, that is to part 2 and part 3 of the question in a future date at a time when I'm allowed to do so. I thank you, Honorable Speaker and members.
Honorable Mwalio, I will give you the first go, also noting the explanation by the CS on part 2 and 3.
Yeah, in the response, it was, you had said, you had indicated that the settlement will be done on 30th November. Now, are you saying that the directive that you have now gotten is different from what you have written here? And can you, if that stays, if 30th stays to be so, can you commit to this House that 30th will be the final day for them to be paid? Question number 2, the advice of this scheme is regulated by RBA. Why can't the scheme heed to the advice of the scheme and settle these debts once and for all? I rest my case.
We will have one more question from the member for Tetu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would like to ask the Cabinet Secretary to clarify on the many organizations that have been set up by acts of parliament, but that remain unoperationalized within her ministry. And specifically, I would like her to tell us the status of the Mental Health Board, given that mental health is a serious and emerging issue in this country. And I know there is also the Psychiatrist and Psychologist Board and a few others that have been not operationalized, and that is in a way affecting service delivery and affecting how we organize our professionals in this country to effectively offer services. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. Though that is not related on question 108. Honorable CS, respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. As I had requested earlier, It's true I had a written submission and it had a date of 30th November. However, based on the new advice that we have received from Retirement Benefits Authority, I would like to seek for more time, and I can only advise as to when we can be able to substantially close that after I have read through the advice. However, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, I would like to say that since this matter came up, we have had advisories from the Retirement Benefits Authority 3 times, in 2019, in 2021, 2022, and the one that has just come, that is 2023. So I would request for your indulgence that you allow me to look at the new advisory that has come and see how best then we can be able to take care of the retirees. However, Madam Speaker and Honorable Members, I would like to clarify that on a monthly basis, retirees receive their monies. So it is a continuation, it's an ongoing exercise. It's not like they have been locked somewhere and waiting for this. They keep receiving it on a month basis. Madam Speaker and Honorable Members, I would also like to say that the same RBA also has given a directive that it is important to note that even as retirees continue to petition for extra benefits, the scheme currently has an actual deficit of 7.5 billion and the funding level is at 50.1%. Further recalculation of the benefits is likely to bring this funding to below 50%. RBA itself has advised that whenever the fund is below 50%, the trustees will be expected to process benefits to the extent of the funding level with a requirement of the sponsor to cover the balance. The National Treasury has been supporting the scheme, Madam Speaker and Honorable Members, annually with 100 million. However, this still does not meet, and we have so far put in a request for 300 million for the National Treasury to support. So I'll wait and be able to advise the House at a future date once we have harmonized with the new advisory that we have received. Madam Speaker and Honorable Members, on the issue of mental health, I would seek indulgence that I respond to it because there is a question touching on mental health, so I'll be able to respond to it. I submit.
That is well noted and agreeable because I also note it is not part of this question. The next question will be by the MP for Kiambu, Honorable Mashua Waithaka.
Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Madam Speaker. I would like to ask the Cabinet Secretary for Health the following question. 1, explain why anti-leprosy drugs are not readily available in public hospitals, forcing patients to source for the drugs outside the said hospitals at exorbitant prices. Number 2, state the measures the ministry has put in place to ensure that the drugs are accessible and affordable. Number 3, indicate what the ministry is doing to reduce the existing stigmatization, enhance public support for persons suffering from leprosy. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Is it leprosy or epilepsy?
Epilepsy, sorry. Epilepsy.
Honorable CS.
Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, epilepsy is one of the non-communicable diseases which is a top priority for the Ministry of Health. Objective 2 of the Kenya Health Policy of 2014-2030 has prioritized interventions to halt and reverse the rising burden of NCDs. Management of epilepsy is multimodal, including use of medicines, those are anticonvulsants, surgery to remove the part of the brain that is responsible for the seizures, and placing a small electrical device inside the body that can help control the seizures. Drugs for epilepsy management are offered at level 4 and above health facilities according to the Kenya Essential Medicine List. This is because such medicines need to be prescribed by specialists, namely psychiatrists, physicians, neurologists, or senior medical officers who are limited in terms of numbers in the public health facilities. As more specialists are trained and eventually deployed, by the county governments, access to anti-epileptic drugs will improve. In line with our task-sharing policy, we have embarked on training of medical officers and clinical officers to manage persons living with epilepsy. This will ensure that patients have access to anti-epileptic medicines, as the facilities will have trained healthcare workers to prescribe and monitor the use of these medications. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, on the second part of the question, my ministry is working with the pharmaceutical sector and other stakeholders on pricing guidelines for health products and technology to address the uncontrolled markup on pharmaceutical products that is a major driver of increasing costs of medicine along the supply chain. Additionally, we are working on strategies for pooled procurement targeting expensive medicines that may not be accessible to a critical segment of the population. Speaker and honorable members, the long term and the solution to this is to promote local manufacturing of health products and technologies and prioritize preferential procurement of locally manufactured medicines and medical commodities. To increase access to anti-epileptic medicine, my ministry has been holding consultations with county governments on the need to enhance availability of NCD medicines, including anti-epileptic drugs. Improving access to anti-epileptic medicines will improve the quality of life of patients suffering from epilepsy, leading to better life and productivity. On the third part of the question, Madam Speaker and honorable members, stigma against epilepsy is real and is due mainly to lack of information about the disease by the general public. Epilepsy is a priority non-communicable disease for my ministry, as captured in our strategy plan for 2022-2026. We have undertaken the following interventions towards epilepsy management and support. We have developed epilepsy management guidelines that will guide healthcare workers on the prevention, control, and management of epilepsy. These guidelines are important in ensuring uniform standard quality care is offered along the continuum of care. The guidelines also include aspects of patient education and self-care that will enable patients to manage their condition better at home. We have also included epilepsy in the training manual for community health promoters. In this module, the CHPs are trained on early detection and referral of patients suspected to have epilepsy to health facilities. The CHPs are additionally trained on how to educate and sensitize the public on epilepsy, hence reducing stigma about this disease. In order to raise the profile of the disease, the Ministry of Health has been encouraging counties to commemorate World Epilepsy Day, that is the second Monday of February, to raise awareness among the public and reduce stigma. Indeed, this year, several counties commemorated the World Epilepsy Day. Sensitization on epilepsy through strategic partnerships with patient groups, media, academia, county governments, and non-governmental organizations, e.g. the Kenya Association of Welfare for People with Epilepsy. Madam Speaker and honorable members, epilepsy prevention and control has already been integrated into the Kenya health policy as one of the priority areas. Further, the ministry has developed a national strategy for prevention and control of all NCDs, including epilepsy. These activities include health system strengthening, advocacy, research, surveillance, partnership, and advocacy specifically for epilepsy. There is a designated focal person to handle matters related to epilepsy at the Division of Non-Communicable Diseases at the ministry. We do, however, request for the increased financial support to enhance epilepsy prevention and control now that I'm in this honorable house.
Hold on, CS. Honorable Member for Kwanza. What is out of order?
There's a bit of disruption at the back, and this is a very serious presentation. Would you please make them to talk silently, please, because they're actually distracting us.
The Kamukunji led by the member for Kabete. Please don't distract honorable member for Kwanza. He wants to hear. CS, please continue. Keep your consultations a bit low.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members. I was actually finalizing on that, and I was putting a request to this honorable house. You are the house that passes our budgets. I would really like to request that we have done allocations for NCDs. and request that the honorable members consider it favorably when the next budgeting session comes into place. I thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members.
Thank you. I'll give the first chance to member for Kiambu, then I will give Honorable Gikaria.
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. Madam CS, you have said that these drugs are available, and I have a concern from one of my constituencies from Tinganga, namely Elizabeth Njeri Etuku, who has visited Kenyatta National Hospital twice, once in July, and she has not been able to access this medicine. So I would urge you to make sure that we have these drugs, because it's becoming very frustrated for our people to access these drugs, and most of them are from very humble backgrounds. Data from the Ministry of Health indicates that Kenya is around 3.4 million people living with epilepsy, with about 3 million adults and 470,000 children aged between the ages of 0 to 17 years.
Honorable Mashua, ask a follow-up question.
Yes,
Not
so,
debate it.
Yes, your Madam Speaker. So I would urge the CS for Health to please, if you can, you give us timelines when you shall have enough drugs to alleviate these problems. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. As we get Honorable Gikaria, Honorable CS, ensure you give a correct, timely, and updated information in your responses. Honorable Gikaria.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just a follow-up on what my colleague from Member of Parliament for Kwanza. It is important also, maybe, Madam Speaker, to give us a direction as to, when the responses are coming from the CSS, and this is a very important session, is that they are very fast sometimes, as to whether we could be having these things in writing so that we could also be reading, as we are not very good, I'm not a very fast learner. So if I had something, I'm just asking, if that the response were here with us, that we could also be following, that would really assist us in making a very meaningful debate and follow-up questions when we want. But all the same, Honorable Speaker, my concern is that can the Cabinet Secretary confirm to us as to when she says that as they are addressing one of the mitigation is to have local manufacturing companies for these drugs, and that is their focus or vision. So by what time are they expecting to have that kind of initiative? Secondly, she has also said about counties providing, she is in touch with counties to be able to provide. What has been the actual response? Is the ministry getting positive feedback from counties in providing? If, Madam Speaker, the counties are unable even to give painkillers at our local dispensaries, how is it that they will be able now to do this? And if the response is negative, what is the ministry doing? And the last, the CHVs again, that they have been trained to be able to handle the epileptic patients. Honorable Speaker, we live around our constituencies, and we don't leave our constituencies. And most of the time, when we go to listen to what the CHVs are doing, epilepsy is one of the diseases that is always avoided and never spoken. Maybe can they do some further training and emphasis on the CHVs to be able to be giving this awareness on how you can handle an epileptic patient. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Nakuru Town East. And you've raised a very important issue, because I know I have seen the copy of the responses. I think it should be tabled so that the table office can make copies on request by members if they would like to indulge further. Honorable CS. And Honorable CS, kindly note the discomfort of members in accordance to Article 189 of cooperation between the national and county governments, so that you also respond to that issue on the many areas that you're doing collaboration on how effective the county governments will be.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members. On the issue of availability of the anti-epileptic drugs, and I would like to answer it together and globally in terms of availability of drugs, all drugs at health facilities. Madam Speaker and honorable members, we have had challenges in our supply chain. We have had challenges in our key institution, KEMSA, in terms of being able to meet all the essential drugs and supplies to avail them to the counties. Our fill rate has been very low. And the reason being that we have not received payments in time from counties when they do order for supplies. And equally, we have dead stock of COVID supplies that we are struggling with. So, Madam Speaker and honorable members, we have had a conversation with the Executive Office of the President, and we are in the process of recapitalizing KEMSA with 2 billion shillings. And this is to ensure that they buy the essential medical supplies so that then we can able to get 100% fill rate for all the essential supplies that are ordered for by the counties. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, on the issue of local manufacturing, the honorable member asked by what time. Honorable Speaker and members, we are already implementing this. In the ongoing tender at KEMSA, 50% of the tender was ring-fenced for local manufacturers. That is to ensure that we get good quality products at an affordable price so that we are able to increase our stock availability. Equally, Madam Speaker and honorable members, this month of October, we are launching UHC, and we will start from the 13th to the 20th. 2 of those days, we are having an expo of local manufacturers who shall be showcasing the products that are manufactured locally and that are available for use within the local facilities within the countries. On the question of the responsiveness of counties, Madam Speaker and honorable members, primary health care services is primarily a function of the counties, and we have a shared responsibility in ensuring that we direct the policy, we do the training, and we do capacity building. So far, the relationship through the Council of Governors has been cordial, and we are giving them training in terms of supply chain management for them to be able to order on time, timely ordering, to manage their stock levels so that they are able to be stocked up on whatever is required at the facility level. On the training of CHPs, Madam Speaker and honorable members, the training for CHPs is for them to refer patients to facilities, not to treat. Like epilepsy cannot be treated by a CHP. Theirs is to refer. But equally, we have trained them to provide education to families and communities so that we reduce the stigma that people that suffer from this condition receive within the communities. I submit, Madam Speaker and honorable members.
Thank you, Honorable CS. We will make progress to the next question by Honorable Sabina Chege. Honorable Kombe, maybe you are not there when we gave the direction, because we said it is one follow-up question by the questioner and one more from a member, which has already been done by Honorable Ikaria. Honorable Sabina.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to ask question number 157 of 2023 in today's order paper, as it was directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Health. 1, could the Cabinet Secretary outline the pharmaceutical composition of Velo, a nicotine drug packaged in pouches, including addictive nature and side effects of the said drug, as well as the regulatory mechanism that the Ministry has put in place to restrict access to or the sale of Velo drug to minors. Secondly, clarify whether the Velo drug has sneaked back to the market as rebrand of Lift, a similar drug that was banned in the year 2019-2020 by the Ministry of Health for not meeting Section 23, Part 1 and 2 of the Pharmacy and Poisons Act. And 3, explain whether the said drug is locally manufactured in Kenya, by who, and if not, provide details of the licensed distributors in the country, including whether the manufacturer or distribution in Kenya is legal. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable CS, as you respond to this one, there were also questions on what velo is by honorable members, but make your response.
Honorable
Wait,
Honorable CS. Honorable
Madam Speaker, that question will come. For the sake of honorable members, I brought in samples of what vero is, and I have them. I've not opened them, Madam Speaker, and they are easily
honorable member
in Kenya. So
Honorable Sabina,
members can cross over. They just see, but you cannot open because it is addictive. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I want to confirm you've not opened or used it at all. All right, honorable members, let us hear the CS on this product. Those who would want to see it will see it from Honorable Sabina.
No.
Order members, now we are becoming disorderly. Kindly let the CS make the response. Honorable Sabina Shege, kindly withdraw the product from showing to the members so that you can hear the response from the CS. And I think you can do that later after the response. Honorable CS.
Honorable Speaker and honorable members, velo is one of the tobacco products that tobacco industry has introduced into the market as countries tighten the regulations on tobacco smoking. The Tobacco Control Act of 2007 requires all manufacturers and importers of tobacco products to provide the content, ingredients, and emissions of their products. Velo, which is a brand name for B18 nicotine pouches, is a non-pharmaceutical substance, but a nicotine derivative substance composed of organic nicotine derived from tobacco leaf. Hence, velo is a tobacco product as defined under the Tobacco Control Act of 2007 and as directed by the Ministry Correspondence of MOH 13-150, Volume 183, dated 21st January 2021. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the chemical profile of the contents and constituents, ingredients, and emissions of velo are many. I can quickly read through. Microstalline cellulose, which is a bulking agent. There's water in it. There's sodium chloride, which is a salt. There's xylitol, which is a sweetener. There's a flavor put into it. There's sodium alginate, which is a gelling agent. There's propylene glycol, which is a humectant. There's nicotine in it. There's sucralose, which is a sweetener also. And the sodium bicarbonate, an acidity regulator. The nicotine content of velo can be as high as the nicotine content of other tobacco products, such as conventional cigarettes, traditional smokeless tobaccos, and heated tobacco products. Existing literature shows that for comparison purposes, conventional cigarettes typically contain an average of 12 micrograms to 19 micrograms of nicotine of tobacco, while heated tobacco products typically contain an average of 14 to 18 micrograms of nicotine. Users can potentially consume up to 90% of nicotine, given that they are taken orally. These new product variants contain different flavors and additives, which suppress the strong smell of tobacco and also makes them attractive and acceptable to the users. These flavors are berry, strawberry, menthol, mint, peppermint, lime, spearmint. Some of these novel tobacco products, besides nicotine, may contain other analytes such as heavy metals, and this may cause toxic to the body. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the regulatory mechanisms to restrict access to velo, nicotine and its salts are classified as Part 1 poisons under the Poisons List Confirmation Order under Cap 244 of the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, which regulates nicotine and its salts. This informed the initial basis for regulation of nicotine pouches by the brand name Lift. However, Cap 244 excludes nicotine that occurs naturally in tobacco. Therefore, the Cabinet Secretary of Health of then, on the 21st of 2021, directed that nicotine pouches, including lift, be regulated as a tobacco product under the Tobacco Control Act of 2007 and required that they meet the requirements for tobacco products. Leaf is no longer in the market, but nicotine pouches by the brand name Velo, manufactured by the same manufacturer, BAT, is regulated as a tobacco product under the Tobacco Control Act. The ministry, in collaboration with other ministries and state agencies, are in the process of reviewing the legislative and regulatory frameworks to address the new and emerging tobacco products. This will include the development of legislative and administrative instruments for the regulation of tobacco products' content and emissions, testing and disclosure of content to government authorities and the public. Restrictions of access to and by minors. The sale of tobacco products to and minors is prohibited by the Act, and all sellers of tobacco products are required to verify the age of a young purchaser. Further, the Tobacco Control Act prohibits the manufacturer, seller of objects that resemble tobacco products, which would reasonably appeal to persons under the age of 18 years. The sale of tobacco products via automated vending machines is also prohibited by law to prevent access to these products by minors. Offering tobacco products for free or by sales promotion is also prohibited. The Tobacco Control Act prohibits all direct and indirect forms of advertising and promotion of tobacco, tobacco products, or tobacco-related brand elements, including sponsorship associated with young people by the tobacco industry. Further, it prohibits false promotion by means of packaging that are misleading or deceptive, or that are likely to create an erroneous impression about the characteristics, the health effects, health hazard, or social effects of the tobacco products or its emission. In addition, it is prohibited to advertise or promote tobacco products by means of testimonial, for example, role models or persons that can influence young people, or an endorsement in any manner, including that which is misleading. It also prohibits advertisement by means of organizing or promoting or sponsoring of sporting, cultural, artistic, or recreational trade fairs and exhibitions, shows, education or entertainment programs, event or activity. Display of tobacco brand elements on non-tobacco products is prohibited, including on clothing. The government, through the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Ministry of Health, has integrated information on the dangers of tobacco and tobacco products in education curriculum. This is intended to inform the children on the effects of tobacco and is aimed at discouraging initiation or motivate quitting tobacco use and to create change agents in the society for tobacco control, including at peer and household level. Speaker and honorable members, the second part of the question, whether Velo drug has been sneaked back to the market as a rebrand of Lift, which is a similar that was banned in 2020 by the Ministry of Health due to it not being able to meet Part 1 and Part 2 of the Pharmacy and Poisons Act. Velo, Honorable Speaker and members, I want to confirm Velo is a rebrand of BAT's Lift, which was recalled off the Kenyan market by BAT following a directive by the immediate former Cabinet Secretary. Velo hit the Kenyan market in June 2022 following a moratorium that was issued on the 15th of June 2022 by my immediate predecessor. Notably, the said Lift was not banned, but its registration and regulation were changed from Pharmacy and Poisons Act Cap 244 to regulation under the Tobacco Control Act of 2007. On the third question, Honorable Speaker and honorable members, explain whether the drug is locally manufactured in Kenya and by whom, and if not, provide details of the licensed distributors in the country. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, Velo is imported from Hungary but distributed in Kenya by BAT Kenya Limited. British American Tobacco, that is BAT Kenya, is licensed as a tobacco product manufacturer in Kenya and have sought manufacture nicotine pouches in Kenya, but this has not yet started. No local manufacturer of nicotine pouches exists in this country. Therefore, all nicotine pouches are imported. Honorable Speaker and members, I submit.
Thank you, Honorable CS. Honorable Sabina.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the CS for confirming that what was banned in Kenya is what has come through as velo. Madam Speaker, what had advised then, I would want even the CS to clarify the moratorium that was given by for the predecessor to lift. That was June 2022, to allow velo back into the market. And again, having been not manufactured in Kenya, coming from Hungary, why would we as a country allow an addictive, a drug? That means when it says it's addictive, and it's actually very clear, why should we allow a drug to come into this country? Madam Speaker, I am a mother. Madam Speaker, I can tell you, we only have a very slight, if you were to look at this, warning at the back, over 18 only. Even as per the Tobacco Act, Madam Speaker, it says for the side effect, you should write in both English and Swahili, half at the back. If you look at this vero, it is just slightly, might be a quarter at the back. It also says 30% at the front, and you can see, Madam Speaker, it's very tiny. And the only effect they have said, this product contains nicotine and is addictive. But Madam Speaker, CS having come from the health, she knows that nicotine affects human body in other areas. For instance, the issue of cardiovascular diseases, the issues about affecting the reproductive health, and many other side effects that nicotine has, Madam Speaker. And my question is, why should the ministry allow this drug to be sold in the market? Why did we allow the British tobacco, they are not even producing it here, to import a drug to come into the Kenyan market? Madam Speaker, this government, and especially even our areas, we are talking about fighting addiction. That's why we even have Nakada. This is a drug that is clearly, even if they are saying it's nicotine, written that is addictive. And Madam Speaker, I just walked out here and I sent my driver to go and look for it. It is readily available anywhere. Our school-going children, when they are going back to school, they are buying velo.
You've made your point.
So, Madam Speaker, I would ask the CS humbly that they reconsider the decision, and this should be banned until it is investigated properly, Madam Speaker, so that we save our generation and we save our young people. I submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to also emphasize and ask the CS, because right now, if you actually compare the kind of velos sold in Kenya to the ones sold in countries like Australia, Kenya has the one that has even a higher level of addiction than other countries. You walk to a petrol station, you can buy it. You go to a chemist, you can buy it. Yep. And they actually don't even ask for an ID when somebody buys velo. And so I just want to support and emphasize and ask the Madam CS to reconsider and have a total ban on velo. Because I can tell you for a fact, out of experience and experimenting, just to understand what velo does. For 5 minutes, it takes you to heaven and then quickly brings you back down to earth. So it is not a good product, for sure. And
I do not want to ask how you know that, but I will say, Honorable CS, there is a lot of interest in this matter, and I think the one issue that you should really address is why the reintroduction of an already withdrawn product, despite having another name, hits the same market, because there was a reason why it had been withdrawn. So I will indulge the Chair of Health Committee for 2 minutes maximum.
Chair, thank you. Honorable Speaker, thank you. And CS, thank you for the responses. But in your response, you refer to the Tobacco Control Act of 2007. And you know, when you look at the Tobacco Control Act of 2007, it talks of tobacco at that time, where we had maybe smoking, but even the smoking now has even gone through, there are various forms. You have electrical cigarettes, and now we also have these pouches. My question, because even as members raise, you know the onus is on this House to make amendments to the Tobacco Control Act. I want to know this from the CS. And you see, like now, even in the tobacco control, even the tobacco fund is supposed to put some tax measures to include even felon and others that are considered to be nicotine or tobacco-like substances.
Thank you, Chair.
When do you intend to bring to the House the amendment to the Tobacco Control Act 2007?
Thank you, Chair. And even as you respond, yes, I think, Honorable Chair, you have alluded to it. The lawmaking house is not outside this House. It is in this House. So I also hope that we take our responsibility. Honorable Member for Thika, I will indulge you for a minute. Follow-up question, not debate.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, mine was to add and ask the CS. Some of these things that we are discussing at the floor of the House, and we know they are harmful. We should even be dealing, whether it is coming through the BAT or whatever channel that is coming in, we invite them or they go to the ministry, to the Committee on Health, so that we can know what we are dealing with, and we don't even be wasting a lot of time. Some of these things, we need even to discipline BAT, because at the end of the day, the people it is harming our children. Because if you look at the way that drug is packaged, it is to hoodwink the young ones. It is nothing to do with the
Thank you, Honorable
adults.
Member for Thika. I will need to have a copy of that so that you make reference, I can refer. Member for Navaholo, please close that section for questions. We'll have the CS respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank the CS for Health for her submissions. But my question is, one, does the Ministry of Health work hand in hand with other departments, especially Kenya Bureau of Standards? When you look at this package, Honorable Speaker, it is stamped Kenya Bureau of Standards. And when you look at the narration by the CS, it automatically puts off that this kind of a substance is not even supposed to be in the country. Do they work hand in hand, Honorable Speaker? Number two of it, Honorable Speaker, I just want to find out if it might be in order that, Honorable Speaker, you order that this substance be removed from the shelf. The reason being, Madam Speaker, the young, especially as parents who have girls, look at it can be applied in two scenarios, Honorable Speaker. Maybe it's used to sniff. It is used even to be abused in terms of how it's used, Madam Speaker. In other parts, Honorable Speaker, it can be inserted. Madam Speaker, it's important you order that this substance be removed from the shelf of the Kenyan supermarkets. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, I want to close this. Member for Rueda, Honorable Obo, what is out of order?
Speaker, alikuwa nasema waziri atueleze wale wakiendelea kuuza vero, sisi kule Lamu tungangana kutafuta dawa ya kuondoa ile hamu ya matumizi ya madawa ya kulevya, na inakuwa mpangilio mrefu. Nimeomba kutoka bunge la 12 mpaka sasa, barua zote nimefanya tuletewe methadone na hatujaletewa, na huku tunaendelea kuuza vero na sisi kule tunamalizika na cocaine, tunatafuta ministry tuletee hiyo methadone pale Lamu East. Kwa hivyo mna mipangilio gani ya kutuletea hiyo methadone ambayo nimeomba kwa muda mrefu mpaka leo haijaletwa Lamu East Father Hospital?
Honorable CS, please make the responses.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and honorable members. If Madam Speaker was to make a declaration that velo be removed from the market as a Minister of Health, we'll be the happiest, because we'll have saved the lives of many Kenyans. But as it is, Madam Speaker and honorable members, we are all relying on the Tobacco Control Act of 2017 and of 2007. So we have put together a technical team that is working at it to review the 2007 Act. Then we shall be bringing it to our health committee so that they can bring it to the House. Madam Speaker and honorable members, in regards to methadone, it is a big value chain, and I would seek your indulgence, honorable Speaker and honorable member, that I do as a specific response to that question and share it with the honorable member. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable CS and honorable members. However powerful the speaker may be, I cannot speak for you. So there exist available avenues of doing this through a motion to be a declaration or a resolution of the House, and I would urge you members to actually pick it up. Next question by honorable member for, wait a minute, the honorable member for Haiti, Honorable Joshua Kiluki. Is he in the House? Has he written to the Speaker on a deferment? Is by the nominated member, Honorable Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like to ask the Cabinet Secretary, number 1, to clarify whether the government has conducted a national health survey to better define the burden of mental health illness in the country, and to provide details of the funds available or allocated for the implementation of promotional, preventive, and curative measures to alleviate the burden of mental illness, and clarify whether there is an interagency approach to deal with mental health in the country. Number 2, could the Cabinet Secretary state the measures the ministry has put in place to establish a mental health and happiness commission, including the creation of annual National Happiness Index to be included in the presidential annual report, as well as whether the state has any plans to provide psychosocial services in learning institutions and to capacity build teachers to identify and assist impacted students. And number 3, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether psychological services are provided in the various security services institutions, whether regular mental health support sessions for personnel are held in the workplace, and further disclose institutions, if any, that serve persons who have conquered mental illness in order to follow their development and ensure they do not relapse. I submit.
Thank you, Honorable Irene. CS. Honorable Kombe.
Thank you.
You can only ask a follow-up question after the response. Hold on.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and honorable members. According to the Kenya Mental Health Policy 2015-2030, the national government estimates the burden of mental illness at 25% among outpatients and 40% among inpatients in different health facilities, with an estimated prevalence of psychosis stated as 1% of the general population. Despite substantial research being undertaken in Kenya to examine the burden of mental illness, the majority of these are region or population specific and thus may not be generalized to the entire country. The Task Force on Mental Health recommended that the government conduct a national mental health survey to better define the burden of illness in the country. The progress that we have done so far, plans are underway to conduct the first national baseline mental health survey. The ministry has appointed a technical working group, which was done in March 2022, to spearhead this survey. This technical working group is composed of officials of the Ministry of Health, the Kenya Medical Research Institute, academia, county governments, development partners, and the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, among others. The technical working group developed the study proposal and got ethical approval to conduct the National Baseline Mental Health Survey. The technical working group engaged the World Mental Health Survey Consortium for capacity building on research assistance using the appropriate study composite international diagnostic interview tool for assessing mental disorders at the community level. This survey has been included in the Division of Mental Health's annual work plan for financial year 2023-2024. Currently, the Ministry is working on mobilizing resources to commence the survey. The Ministry of Health has included mental health burden indicators in the sector surveys, particularly the Kenya Adolescent Health Survey of 2019, which examined the symptoms of mental health, alcohol and substance use, and the risk factors, including adverse childhood experience among adolescents. The Ministry of Health is currently piloting the inclusion of disease-specific mental health indicators, the Kenya Health Information System, in 14 counties to better understand the burden of mental illness at health facility level. On part 2, on implementation of promotional, preventive, and curative measures to alleviate the burden of mental illness. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Ministry has made significant efforts towards strengthening the country's mental health system. The Ministry has developed national mental health policy documents, including the Kenya Mental Health Policy of 2015-2030, the Kenya Mental Health Action Plan 2021-2025, National Suicide Prevention Strategy 2021-2026, Kenya Mental Health Investment Case 2021, and Mental Health Training Manual for Community Health Promoters 2021. Furthermore, the Ministry has finalized the first national mental health standards and clinical guidelines for use in building the capacity of primary health care workers to identify and manage people living with mental illnesses. Additionally, the Ministry has provided technical support to counties in the implementation of national policy documents. In this regard, the Ministry has supported counties in developing county-specific costed mental health action plans to drive the agenda of mental health at the county level. At present, 4 counties have developed and are implementing county-specific mental health action plans. These counties are Nyeri, Kilifi, Kajiado, and Murang'a. The counties are at different levels of implementation of measures to alleviate the burden of mental illness, with Nyeri County making significant strides in mainstreaming mental health through its inclusion in the County Integrated Development Plan. In July 2023, the Ministry held a consultative meeting with various stakeholders on children and adolescent mental health. This meeting highlighted the fragmentation of school mental health interventions within the government by various stakeholders. To address this, the Ministry of Health plans to establish a national school mental health technical working group to improve the collaboration and coordination of school mental health interventions, including development of guidelines on school mental health. The second part, the measure the Ministry has put in place to establish a mental health and happiness commission, including creation of annual National Happiness Index to be included in the presidential annual report, as well as other states has any plans to provide psychosocial services in learning institutions and to capacity build teachers to identify and assist impacted students. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, the Task Force on Mental Health 2019 identified the absence of a unified mental health leadership and governance structure in the country and made a recommendation for the establishment of a National Mental Health and Happiness Commission, which will be the overall mental health authority in the country. This commission will be tasked with monitoring the state of mental health and happiness among Kenyans using an annual happiness index to help guide public policies. At present, this commission is not in place. However, progress has been made towards strengthening the mental health leadership and governance structures in the country. This has been undertaken through the following: creation of the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Mental Health. This was done in 2021, tasked with the implementation of recommendations by the Task Force on Mental Health. However, the term of the first Presidential Advisor on Mental Health ended. So far, the office is vacant and names have been submitted for possible consideration. 2, the Kenya Mental Health Amendment Act 2022 provided the legal framework for the establishment of mental health leadership and governance structures at national and county level. At the national level, this led to the appointment of the Kenya Board of Mental Health through a Gazette notice of 8818, that was in July 2022, and Gazette Notice 9284 of 5th August 2022. The Kenya Board of Mental Health serves as the oversight authority for mental health and has an important responsibility towards improving the mental health of the population and safeguarding the rights of persons with a mental illness. Madam Speaker and honorable members, at this point I would like to respond to a question that had been raised earlier regarding the operationalization of the Mental Health Board. We have made strides in the operationalization, and so far we are waiting to inaugurate the board upon our supplementary budget being approved that has put in place the funds that will be used by this board. At the county level, Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Act gives provision for appointment of county mental health councils mandated to spearhead all matters relating to the status of mental health and mental illness in the county. However, the counties are yet to appoint their county mental health councils. Therefore, the ministry is currently planning on disseminating the Kenya Mental Health Amendment Act 2022 to the county executive committee members for health who are mandated by law to appoint the councils through the Council of Governors. Part 3 on provision of psychosocial services in learning institutions. Honorable Speaker and members, globally, it is estimated that 50% of mental health conditions develop by the age of 15, and 75% of mental health conditions have developed by the age of 25 years. Furthermore, the Task Force on Mental Health identified children and adolescents as a special population in mental health who require targeted intervention. In this regard, the following recommendations were made. Youth counselors should be employed in primary schools to provide counseling services. School nurses should be required to undertake training on youth and adolescent health in order to better meet the needs of adolescents. Build capacity for teachers to identify and help the affected children in schools. In implementations of this recommendation, the ministry has made the following progress. In 2022, the ministry, in collaboration with the Office of the Presidential Advisor on Mental Health, was able to support an initial multi-sectoral workshop towards development and implementation of mental health literacy curriculum for teachers. The Ministry of Education is represented also in the National Mental Health Stakeholders Forum and National Multi-Sectoral Suicide Prevention Committee to enable collaboration on safeguarding the mental health of students in learning institutions. In July 2023, the ministry held a consultative meeting with stakeholders on children and adolescents' mental health. This meeting highlighted the fragmentation of schools' mental interventions within the government's stakeholders. To address this, we have established a National School Mental Health Technical Working Group to improve the collaboration and coordination of school mental health interventions, including the development of national guidelines on school and mental health. The third bit of the question, to clarify whether psychosocial services are provided in various security service institutions, whether regular mental health support sessions for personnel are held in the workplace, and further disclose institutions, if any, that serve persons who have conquered mental illnesses in order to follow their development and ensure they do not relapse. Madam Speaker and honorable members, the Task Force on Mental Health identified security personnel as a special population who require consideration and attention, as their needs may not be fully addressed by primary health services. In this regard, the task force has made the following recommendation. Different security service institutions must provide psychosocial services for both managers and staff of disciplined institutions. The institutions should establish regular staff support sessions on mental health in workplace for the officers. The ministry should continue mainstreaming mental health in all sectors, including the disciplined forces. On implementation of this recommendation, we have made the following progress. The National Workplace Mental Wellness Guidelines were developed with input from the National Police Service. These guidelines have been finalized and due for launch this October. The implementation of these guidelines by the security apparatus is key to the promotion of mental wellness, prevention of mental illness, and support for officers with mental problems. Madam Speaker and honorable members, in the Shakahola incidents, the Ministry of Health nominated 7 psychologists and 2 psychiatrists to support